Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today, we're going to be taking a look at Oricorio GX. I wasn't expecting Oricorio to get a GX. Oricorio is one of those Pokemon that tends to get fun little cards. We've got the Oricorio that searches out a couple of energy, and the Oricorio that has got an attack which searches out your fire Pokemon. It's not one of the ones we expect to get a GX, and of course there are 4 different types of Oricorio, 4 different styles, so to speak, so it's hard to decide which one should actually get a GX. Except apparently it's not that hard. It is the Sensu style, which is Ghost type in the video game, and that helps to explain the basics that we see here on Oricorio GX. It's got 170 HP, which is on the lower end of GX's, but at least is higher than Jirachi and Dedenne. It is, however, extremely relevant that it will be one-hit KO'd on the bench by a Naganadel GX. So you need to be extremely careful playing this. Naganadel GX is seeing a lot of play. It hits 170 to the bench. You have been warned. Weakness to Darkness is honestly alright. Now Umbreon and Darkrai does a normal 150. So they will KO you because of the weakness, but that's about the only relevant one here. And the resistance to fighting is pretty good. In a format with Pikachu and Zekrom, there's always going to be people that are trying to play fighting to counter it. So there's always going to be people that are going to be playing fighting that you have resistance to. That's quite nice. Retreat cost of 1 means that you can use U-turn board to get yourself free retreat, so that's a nice little bonus. And being a psychic type is awesome. You've got Spell Tag, a tool that drops extra damage counters for when you get KO'd. And you've got Malamar to accelerate energy if you're in the mood to do so. And you're hitting weakness against Mewtwo and Mew. Frankly, ladies and gentlemen, it is a good time to be a psychic Pokemon. And we've seen a couple of these over the last few days, but you're a psychic type that's weak to darkness, so you're hitting weakness on Mewtwo and Mew, but you're not being hit for weakness by Mewtwo and Mew. That's quite nice. Now our translation here does come from the lovely Antoine Boulet, who as we know is lovely. And the ability is good but a bit complicated, and it reads: once during your turn, if one of your Pokemon was knocked out during your opponent's previous turn, you may draw 3 cards. You cannot use this ability if you've already used a Tribute Dance ability this turn. So you get to draw 3 cards if one of your Pokemon was KO'd the previous turn, but this ability does not stack, it is only drawing 3 cards. Well, straight off the bat, one thing we need to mention here, drawing 3 cards on an ability is like over the top good. Drawing 3 cards on an ability is crazy good. Now, we can look at some other Pokemon. We can look at, for instance, Alolan Sandslash. Yeah, Alolan Sandslash drew 1 card. Oranguru draws until you got 3 cards in hand, so you can have 3 cards, but only if you've got 0 cards in hand. We've got that Beware, the one that came around in Guardians Rising, that draws 3 cards when you evolve up into it. This draws you 3 cards every turn as a basic Pokemon if something was KO'd. Now at this point we need to compare it to Persian GX. Because you see, Persian GX has a very similar ability, and like I'm sure a lot of you, that's what I thought of when I saw this card. Once during your turn, before you attack, if one of your Pokemon GX or EX was knocked out during your opponent's last turn, you may search your deck for up to 2 cards and put them into your hand. Now, obviously, searching your deck for 2 cards is better than drawing 3 cards. The thing is, Persian is a stage 1, and Persian is only after an EX or GX was KO'd. Well, that's kind of awkward. Absolute maximum 2 uses. No, that's not strictly true. I suppose if you use something like a Naganadel or a Xurkitree to give your opponent an extra prize, then they could KO 3 GXs without winning the game, and then you could potentially use this 3 times, but that's, shall we say, somewhat unrealistic. Really, that's twice per game. But the thing with Oricorio is it's whenever anything is KO'd. And here, I am thinking Lily's Pokédoll. You see, ladies and gentlemen, this is coming out in Cosmic Eclipse, which will be the same set for us. And it's basically Robo-Sub. The only difference is that Robo-Sub, if it's in the active and you want to get rid of it, you discard it. Lily's Pokédoll, you put it on the bottom of your deck. Otherwise, it's the same card. It's an item card that you play as a 30 HP basic, and if it gets KO'd, it doesn't give up a prize. But it still counts as a Pokemon being KO'd. And we've seen decks already. I showed you a Florges deck recently, which has actually proven very popular. I'll pop a link to that one in the description, that played a whole bunch of Lily's Pokédoll. And similarly, when it's out, you can see this being played with stuff like Beheeyem, which shuffles itself into the deck and then puts this active so your opponent takes a hit, gets an attack, without taking a prize. But the thing is, they've still taken a KO, so you still get to draw 3 cards. Now, you do have to watch out for Great Catcher, which is also coming out in Cosmic Eclipse. You discard 2 cards from your hand and then drag a GX from the bench into the active. That makes it awkward to play GXs. GXs are about to get a lot more awkward because of Great Catcher. I mean, don't get me wrong, right? They've got enough tricks that it really doesn't matter. They're still great. But playing a one-off GX like this could be awkward. So, for instance, in a Beheeyem deck, do you really want a 2-prize Pokemon that your opponent can easily gust up? You probably don't. But in any deck playing stuff like Robo-Sub, or maybe even a single-prize deck, this is great, great draw power. If it's stacked, it would be broken, but I still like it. The main attack here, we don't need no translation. 1 Psychic, 2 Colorless Energy, 80 damage. Not loving it. Now, the good news is we've got Malamar to accelerate energy, but we've got way better GXs for Malamar. You could be playing something like an Ultra Necrozma. Or, to be honest with you, right, you could just be putting free energy onto a Giratina and doing 130 and having the awesome ability. Or playing the new Necrozma. Now, you would need a special energy on there, but with a special energy, you're hitting 160. To be fair, without a special energy, you're still hitting 100, which is still more than Oricorio. This is a bad attack. Now, you are getting a one-hit KO on Jirachi, as long as there's a Power Plant out. Remember, Jirachi kind of removes its own weakness, but you can play Power Plant. But I'm going to be honest with you, this is an extremely underwhelming attack. You basically got to, if you're going to be attacking with this attack, you basically got to play it in a Malamar deck, and there are so many better options for Malamar. Now, the GX attack here, 1 Psychic, 2 Colorless Energy, so, And the GX attack, 100 damage, switch this Pokemon with one of your bench Pokemon. You do 100, you switch to the bench. I like that you switch to the bench. Especially if you're playing this in a deck with your Lily's Pokédoll. So you can switch to the bench and flick a Lily's Pokédoll in the active. Fine. But honestly, I mean, it's just, if you're playing a deck with Lily's Pokédoll, are you playing Malamar and being able to accelerate the energy? Free energy. This is literally the same attack cost as Necrozma, and Necrozma does 100 with a chance of going up to 160. And flicking to the bench is fine. We've seen this on a GX attack with Golisopod, for instance, and Raichu and Alolan Raichu. And I suppose hitting to the bench can be useful, but as far as GX attacks go, this is one of the worst we've seen. I know it's for a basic, and I know that it only does 50 less than Golisopod, but no. Like, this won't get a one-hit KO on a Volcanion or a Zapdos. Come on. No, you're not using this as an attacker, ladies and gentlemen. The attacks are just bad. But I don't think it matters, because the ability is nuts. And what I really like about this is you can whack a spell tag on there, and you're sitting there using the ability, and if your opponent does go and get a KO, then you can drop 4 damage counters. That's kind of cool, right? That is very cool. I love this for the ability. I adore it in Lily's Pokédoll decks. I think it's one of the worst attackers in terms of being a GX and efficiency that we've seen. I think it's utter garbage as an attacker. But I absolutely adore it for the ability. So I'm going to be giving it 4 Wassies. I do think it will see play. I do think people will use it for the ability. I don't think people will attack with it unless they're absolutely desperate. But you don't need to. This ability is good enough to make it see play. But I'd like to know if you're going to play it and what decks you want to play it in, so let me know in the comment section. Go nuts, be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at @TheWassie, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. And please do make sure you're checking out youtube.com/WassiePlays, where we talk about a whole bunch of games that don't even have any Pokemon in. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.